afternoon. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard the announcer. This is Back to Basics Eyes of Faith broadcast with Pastor James E. Sturdivant. Hey, y'all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is y'all second dose of the double dose Wednesday, and we just here to give y'all a little scoop or something to just kind of give you a little sweet something to kind of carry you through the rest of your afternoon. Hey, church talk. Church talk. We are we excited. We happy to be here. We just celebrated 1 years of being on Church Talk, and we got something in motion where we'll be live in the Church Talk studios next month. So we got that happening. Of course, we gotta give a shout out to Lady Michelle, who is helped putting this together. She's the one that comes every week. We missed you last week. She's the one that comes every week. Make sure we sound good over the airways. So shout out to you, Lady Michelle. I would sing because I'm happy, but I also would sing because I am free, and I would also sing because his eye is on the sparrow. Yes. But the reason why I would sing is because you wasn't here last week. But I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna wait till we live in the studios and live in Cutter next month and give you a full concert. A full concert. But let me shout out everybody who's tuning in on YouTube. Last week, Lady Michelle and Church Talk and everybody that's tuning in was the launch of us doing YouTube Live. So we're no longer on Facebook Live, and I know you all are used to it. And we was doing Facebook Live for the first year, but now that we have completed 1 year and we in our second year, we're moving on up to the east side, to the deluxe apartments. We're moving on to the deluxe edition, right? We're moving on up. So Facebook was the first year, YouTube is the second year. So we need you all to jump on board. I know some people are having a hard time transitioning with that. Pastor has been putting it on his Instagram and on his Facebook pages. But if you don't know, now you know. But if you don't know, you can do, I was feeling Biggie Small for a second. If you don't know, now you know. Here's how you can tune in, Church Talk and everybody. Here's how you can tune into YouTube. We've been encouraging you all to go to Pastor Sturdivant's landing page, and that's www.jesturdivantministries.com. Again, www.jesturdivantministries.com. If you go on that page and on the home page, go down to the bottom of it, you'll see a link that says YouTube for Church Talk Radio. If you click on that link, you'll be able to see us live, and we will be doing that. So we try to give people a few minutes. Last week, Pastor kind of helped y'all out, even though we said we wasn't going to do no Facebook. He still did Facebook for people to transition. And this week, people still kind of getting it. We made the announcements, but just like any habit, it takes a little while to break. Easy to get into, but much harder to break and stop. And so we know it was a habit for you all to tune into Facebook every week. So we allowing this time for you all to transition. So with that being said, Church Talk Radio, if you want to, replay this show, if you want to, share the show, you can go on to Pastor Sturdivant's YouTube page, and you can do that by going on his landing page. We made it so easy. You don't have to try to go to YouTube and search. Here's how you can do it. Go to his landing page, www.churchtalkradio.com. I'm sorry, that's Church Talk Radio. I'm not promoting Church Talk Radio because you can watch the broadcast on Church Talk Radio. But if you want to see us live, you can do www.jesturdivantministries.com. And on that homepage, just go straight down to the bottom, and you'll see that YouTube link, and you can watch us live. You want to say hi? Because they missed you. They asked about you last week. They was like, where's stepthebest.com.org.edu? And we just had the box, and we just like, this is her right here. That's all we did. But they missed you. Go ahead and let them see you.
That is silly. Hey, Church Talk. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be live on the radio. Hey. I just want to say, make sure we're sharing this, like Jenny said. And even though Church Talk, you can only hear us right now, make sure you tell somebody to tune in to listen to, because it is very important. We get back to the basics teaching. This is called Back to Basics Teaching. So we keep it simple. Pastor keeps it very simple. He definitely gives us a word every time. He's not here in person right now. If you're watching, you can see him behind us, but he definitely instills something in us throughout this year and the years of being under this ministry, and we definitely got something to say, so I'm excited to say it.
Yeah, I think Pastor and I was saying last week how, the teachings that we've been doing, because we have another broadcast that we do in the mornings on Wednesday, and then prior to that, we were with Radio 1, but then prior to that, Eyes of Faith came about. Back to Basics came about when Pastor actually first started writing his books.
Okay.
And he was doing his teachings, giving simplistic stuff from his sermons, and he made it back to basics as far as teachings, and then we just took that, and then it became a broadcast that we've been doing now, I believe since 2014 or 15. We've been doing it, and God has just, he's elevating us.
Mm-hmm.
And, as the world evolves, so do we. And first we was in a radio station. We still in the radio station, but now everything's internet radio. And so we're transitioning and about to be doing some things on television. So it's an exciting thing. If y'all not connected now, I'm just telling you, you're doing yourself a disservice. Mm-hmm. You need to be tuning in, and then as Steph stated, sharing this. The things that we talk about it's not an age requirement. Mm-hmm. This can help people that are adults, your senior citizens, your youth and young adults, your teenagers, and your children. This is stuff that can help you all. And I wish that we had these simple teachings that were made accessible to us when we were teenagers, because it probably would have prevented me from making some of the choices that I made, and I probably would be a little further, but everything happens for a reason. So that's why we're giving back to basics, and we hope that you are sharing this. Pastor, he is a great asset to the body of Christ with the gift that God has given him, as it relates to just teaching and preaching. And he does things locally in the area, in the DMV area, but God allows him to do stuff across the states, but then even not across the states, in other states. And currently he is in Africa. And he just finished ministering earlier this morning. It's a 6-hour difference, so it's 3 o'clock here. So it's got to be 8 o'clock in the evening there, in which they're attending service. So I'm sure he'll watch this later on tonight when they're done. But they're in service, and they're being fed and being a blessing. So shout out to Pastor and his wife, co-pastor, and they brought a team of them this time to Africa. So it's about 20 people that are on travel there. So I'm sure we're going to have some great testimonies and stories when they get back. So we're just going to hold it down. And
yes, we are.
We ask for y'all support on YouTube. If you all can leave comments, greet us, because we can't see how we used to see on Facebook. We can see who's logging on, but we can't see that on YouTube unless you actually say something. So if you say something, then we know that you are here. So say something and we'll shout you out. Leave us a comment. Let us know, that you're with us. And even with what we're teaching, give your feedback. We're going to read it and all of that. But let me shout out, because we did shout out Lady Michelle, but we got to shout out the one who made it possible, yes, the one who said, hey, Pastor, your ministry is awesome, and it has to be heard all over the New York area. And that's Lady Lisa Chu. And we gotta give her a shout out, because she's been holding it down. She said, hey, look, don't worry about it. I'm gonna just make it happen for you all. I'll take care of it every month for you all. We just want you all to just be heard. And she's been making it happen. So shout out to you, Miss Lisa Chu. Because a lot of people say, I'm going to support you. And then
that's all they
don't. They
do
say, and then nothing happens. But she has been a woman of her word. She never asked for anything. She never said, okay, y'all, it's been a year. That's enough. Wrap it up. but she has been consistently faithful, supporting, and you gotta appreciate. My grandmother, Pastor's mother, said people don't have to be nice, and when they are nice, they don't have to be nice to you. And she has been extremely nice to us. So thank you, Miss Lisa Chu, for your continuous support. And if you want to be a support to Pastor STURDIVANT, you know his ministry has been a blessing to you. You know that the teachings are a blessing. You know that his sermons are a blessing, and you know that his books are a blessing. I'm holding it up, Church Talk Radio, YouTube. You all see, I am holding up Pastor STURDIVANT's books. He's written 6 books, 6 amazing books that are timeless. These books can be a blessing to your life, your entire life, your family, and your entire family. These books, I'm telling you, we were talking about them earlier. These books are still relevant and changing lives. I mean, talking about No Longer Crippled, which is his first book, the first book he's ever written. He was an author on some other books, but he actually wrote this first book, No Longer Crippled, From Trauma to Triumph, and we were reading it and listening to it last week, and I was just saying how the stuff that he's talking about in this book is still needed to be heard today. I mean, we all go through traumas, and at the end of the day, it's not how the trauma affect you and how you look at it, but it's also what's going to come from the trauma as far as you being triumphant and being victorious. And he gives you the process, because of course with every trauma there's a process before you get to that triumphant, and he gives you the process. I'm telling you, this book is so necessary. You want to get this book. Steph, what about this book, Encouragement in Small Doses?
This is a great book. I know I had said earlier, if you go onto Pastor's website, which everybody needs to go on that, like as soon as you finish listening to this, go on the website and click on the link, and not only click on the link for YouTube, but sign up to get his Daily Grace, because this book actually, he uses inserts from this book in his Daily Grace, and this book is just what it is. It's encouragement in small doses. He gives you something encouraging, and then he gives you a scripture to back it up, and that can last you throughout the whole day. And it's not a book that you have to read from page 1 to page 2 to page 3. You can skip around and just open it up and see where God leads you. This right here says, if we understood the true power of our words, we would talk and text less nonetheless. Meaning, what we're saying out of our mouth has so much power that if we don't say it, we're not speaking to our situation. We're not giving power to what we know we can give power to. And we are in this time where we do a lot of texting, a lot of emailing, and it's not the same. Getting, hearing the emotion behind the words, it does something. So pick this book up.
Encouragement in Small Doses, and this is gender friendly, so it can be for men and women, boy and girl. You can get this book any age. And then he got 2 devotions. I mean, the first devotion is a divine hunger, and that's if you just kind of feel like you lost that hunger, that passion that you used to have when you were first saved. I mean, when I was thinking about it, I'm like, when I was first saved, I was playing around. But then when I got older, I began to understand God for who he was, not based off of my parents, but just what he was for me. And I used to have that hunger. And there's been times where life just kind of got in the midst of my relationship with God. And, it's like, okay, well, the hunger that I did have in the beginning kind of dwindled a little bit. I'm sure some of you all have, been in the same place. This divine hunger allows you to get back into that place of passion, that place of, need for God, that hunger for his word. It's a devotion. It gives you the opportunity to read certain things about God, hear what the Lord is saying concerning it, and then write it down. And there's another devotion that we love. I love this one, Daily Confessions for Impacting Your World. And this is another devotion that allows you to know what you're saying out your mouth. It's so we have power in our words, and it's so important. I'm trying to find myself not talking as much, but it's a transition for me because I do want to talk, and then it's a transition for my relationships because if I'm not talking, it's like, okay, what's wrong? But it's like trying to think before I talk, because sometimes we talk and we go based off of how we feel, and sometimes what I say based off of how I feel can be not the best thing. So it's like, okay, well, let me let me kind of be quiet for a second. And then before I say something, let me think about it so that it doesn't have it. This one right here tells you that your words have power. Because you can either create or cremate your world by your words. And it's really serious. We used to say sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt. I'm telling you, I don't know why we did some of the nursery rhymes we did, growing up, because words really do work. They have power. And now sometimes pastors say you just got to have the gift of shut up or be quiet, because sometimes you can speak things to death or speak things out of your blessing or what you could have because of just one thing that you say. So this is a good book. I'm telling you, these devotions are awesome. And then the other one, we're just giving y'all a brief insert. Y'all can go on his webpage, Learning to Soar, Life Lessons to Facing Life Challenges. This is an amazing book because it's a whole bunch of life lessons. My parents, when we were growing up, every time somebody did something wrong as a child, we would sit down as a family and we would be like, oh gosh, the children would be like, oh gosh, not another life lesson. And we used to dread it because how do you take me, lying and making this a whole life lesson? It was a family discussion and we used to dread that. And when I tell you, it has helped us. It has helped us in a lot of ways. And what we thought was not for our good ended up being for our good. And the things that we had learned growing up based off of what my father used to teach us, now we apply to our own lives and we try to help the lives of those who are connected to us. You want to get that book, Learning to Soar. Here's the last one.
Hearing and Knowing the Voice of God. This is a must-have also. All of them are really, but this one really focuses on the three voices that we listen to and that we hear: the voice of self, the voice of God, and the voice of the enemy. And it breaks it down to know who is saying what and who certain things just are not coming from God. And sometimes because of where we are emotionally or where we are spiritually, we feel like it could be God sent. But at the end of the day, if you know without a doubt in your heart and you know for sure what God says is real and that is God speaking, then that's what you're going to move based on. But if you don't know, then you need to get this book so you can know.
No difference between the voices. So here's the books. We gave you brief inserts, not just because, they're here, but because we have read them and we can be testaments. We are testaments, rather, of, how each book have been life-changing in our lives. So we want you all to also experience them. You can go on the webpage. That's www. What is that? STURDIVANT Ministries.com. And when you go on that web page, you can see where it says books, and you click on whichever book you want, and it gives you a synopsis of what each book is. And it also has pastor talking about each book. So that's something that you can do. He'll eat the cost. We'll ship it out to you, and you can have it in your possessions within a couple of days. So please support his ministry by getting his books. Or if you just want to become a sponsor to the broadcast, to the ministry, because you see where the ministry is going, you see how it's affecting people, you see that he's having great impact, and you want to become a sponsor or a partner of Back to Basics broadcast because you have an event or a conference or a workshop or a business or something that you're doing and you want Back to Basics to kind of back you up. As we do Back to Basics, you can go ahead and become a sponsor or a partner of the broadcast, and I'll give you that information. Or if you just want Pastor to come to your next service, conference, anniversary, engagement, you can do that. If you want to sow a seed to his ministry because he has been a blessing to your life, you can do that by going to his Cash App handle, and that's the $, capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Again, for his Cash App, you can go ahead and send him just a thank you saying, Pastor, we appreciate you. Every week, whenever we need you, you are there, you are accessible. And what God has given you, you are giving it to us free of charge. We'll go to a therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist and sit on their couch and pay all this money. And what you are teaching us is the same thing without no charge. We want to say thank you. Yep. You can do that by sowing a seed at his Cash App, and that handle is the $, capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Or if you want to become a sponsor or a partner of the broadcast and the ministry, you can contact me, Janice, and that could be reached at 301-736-23838. 301-736-238. I should know that number by now. I was trying to put like a little reggae beat, but it's hard trying to do the beat and at the same time. And then I was like, you know what, let me not do it. But yes, contact that number. Ask speak to me, Janice Sturdivant. I'll give you that information and you can have Pastor Sturdivant be a part of your next event. All right, now that we've gotten the announcements and everything out of the way, we're going to get into this teaching because, you know, Pastor has been doing this thing on love, and we've been doing it since February, and it's a thing as far as love and talking about what love is, and we came from so many dynamics and so many things as it relates to love, because love is love. Love doesn't change. Love is timeless. Love will always be here. Even when you're gone, love will still be here. And so it's so many perspectives. And I know Pastor for the past couple of weeks have been talking about the depth of your love, or how deep is your love. And that's been something that is a serious question that you really got to kind of think about it, because, you know, your love, as far as the depth of your love is going to be predicated on your knowledge of love. You know, and we had a couple of weeks ago we had gave the scenario as far as how your love changes based off of the level of love that you experience. For example, when you're in elementary school or when you're in pre-K, you look at love, you know, not as complicated as you'll look at it as an adult. When you're in child school, you know, and a boy, you know, just runs past you in the playground and just taps you and hits you and then keeps running. And it's like, oh my goodness, like he hit me, like he must like me, oh, he loves me. And that's how we view love, because at 5, 6 or 7 years old, that's what we know love to be. And then when you get a little older and you get in elementary school and you have somebody send you a note and it's, you know, check the box if you like me. Yes, no, maybe. And then if somebody check the yes, just like, oh my goodness, he likes me. Oh, this is love. This feels good. Great. Yay. You know what I mean? And that's how you view love. And then when you get a little older and you get, you know, into middle school, high school, and you got now guys, you know, giving you their phone number and they're asking you to take you out and they're calling the house phone. The phone that everybody shared. This is the phone I remember everybody shared, the house phone, when I was in middle school. I mean, it was no privacy. If you got a phone call from a guy or from a girl, everybody heard the entire conversation. And if the phone was in the kitchen, so it wasn't like you can go upstairs in your room. No, you in the kitchen while we all right there in the dining room and you having that conversation, and you could tell if he asked you, oh, can we go out? Let me ask my mom, is it okay if I go? That you thought was love, you know what I mean? And then when you get older into college and, you know, a young adult, you then, you know, begin to see love when you're being picked up, you know, from your house and somebody takes you out to a fine dining restaurant and you view love from that. So you graduated as far as your knowledge of love based off what you knew love to be. From a childhood to an adult, and the levels and the knowledge of love. That's I see you, Tracy Jefferson. I see you, Lisa Chu. Good afternoon. Thank y'all so much. I was with us this morning. Appreciate that. Give us some thumbs. Let us know that you are with us. But that's how you view love, based off of your knowledge of love. And then also, it's not just based off of your own personal knowledge of love, but then it's also based off what you see love to be. See, my parents, they have been married. September will make 40 years they've been married. 45 years, I think they've been dating. Yeah, so 40 years they've been married next month. And we grew up where my parents were the example of love to myself and my siblings. My other members of the family, as far as my aunts and my uncle, although they were extended family, they weren't the actual examples in front of us. It was who we were in the house with that were our examples. And there were things that were going on in the house where we saw love to be, you know, a certain way based off how they communicated with each other. We saw love to be, you know, a certain way as far as how they communicated with us. That's how we view love. And I know your knowledge of love is not only based off of your own personal experience, but based off of how you view it. Your household, I'm sure, was different, but it doesn't mean that love is not prevalent to you.
Right. Well, it's funny because I saw love in so many different ways growing up.
Right.
Because I was in different environments. And I know my grandmother raised me when I was younger, in the earlier stages of my life, and I don't think she ever beat me. And so when I transitioned to start living with my mom, and then I would get in trouble and she would beat me, I would feel like she did not love me because I went all this time without, any type of repercussion for my actions or any type of punishment. Without, my grandmother didn't do anything to me, and then now I'm getting it, and I'm like, well, you don't love me, because when I was over here, she didn't do that to me. All she did, she would hug me, she would love me, she would feed me. Anything that made me happy, I got. And I saw that as love. But as I got older, and like you were saying, as you graduate to learning different levels of love, I saw that it wasn't that my mom didn't love me. She wanted me to learn the right way. And so she was disciplining me so I would know better for the next time.
I think that's so key as far as knowing that, because I remember our household. Yeah.
Your face.
I mean, we've gotten different types of discipline. If we came out of our mouth wrong, as far as your words, whether you got smart or you use cuss words or you talked back, we were given a concoction of dish detergent and different things that would prevent you from not wanting to do that again. And I'm like, how in the world would you have us drink this? Like, we can die from this, or we can, end up in a hospital. That's not love, but it was love, because I promise you, some of us did, talk back and cuss and all that again. But it was to be a lesson of, if you don't want to do this again, don't do what got you doing this again. And that was a portray of love. And just because it may hurt us at the moment doesn't mean it's not love. And we think that because something hurts or it doesn't feel good, it's not love. But when everything feels good, oh, you buy me a gold chain. Oh, you bought me a car. You brought me a box of chocolate and some roses, and you just made me all tingly inside and all of that. That all the feel good stuff is love. But love comes in all shapes and sizes. You know what I mean? Even when you think about it from a spiritual perspective, the fact that Jesus died, was beaten to death. To death. He was hung on a cross where they put nails in his hands and nails in his feet and thorns in his head, and they whipped him, and he was scarred and bruised for us. That is love. That did not feel good to him. He did not want to do. He asked his father, if this is something that needed to be done, but at the same time, because he loved his children and the world so much, he went through that pain for our gain. Oh, what are you doing? He went through that pain for our gain. And sometimes we think because we go through pain that it's not going to be for good. But it's not about what you go through or how it feels. It's the lesson that comes from it. So love is interesting. Love, is a thing. And sometimes because we're hurt by love, or because love may not feel good in some situations, we don't learn to grow in love. We may grow in age, and we may get older. We may grow as far as maturity, but our love sometimes may still stay elementary based off of the experiences that we received in the name of love. There have been people who have been domestically abused in the name of love. I work for, a suicide line, and I hear people say, I was, domestically abused, by my husband, by my wife, by my father, by my mother, and they told me that they loved me, but if they loved me, why would they allow this to happen to me, or why would they do this to me? And some people are scarred in the name of love. And it's unfortunate because if you don't know any different, if you don't see anything different, if you don't learn anything different, you're only gonna go based off of your own experience.
Right.
Or you'll go based off of, what we see today as far as love and hip hop. Love and hip hop. When I tell you, like, let me just put a pin right here, because I was talking to the young girls, and we was watching this crazy show on BET or VH1, one of them stations, and I'm like, what is this show about? It's a reality show, Church Talk. Church Talk. I don't know if y'all know anything about love and hip hop, YouTube. This show is a reality TV show of hip hop people, or people that are in hip hop, that are in relationship with each other, and they're in love, and how they have a circle of friends who's also in the same boat, and how the friends, the guys are cool with the guys, and the girls are cool with the girls. But then if somebody do something that offends another relationship, then that brings tension amongst the girls or the guys. And it just talks about the different avenues of love in hip hop, to give a brief synopsis. But we were talking about this show because I'm trying to figure out where the love comes in, when every time an episode comes on, there are girls going across the table, fighting each other, throwing drinks and stuff, picking up glasses, throwing glasses at each other, yelling, screaming, pulling out each other's weaves, calling each other's name. I'm like, so where is the love in this? I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And the show is called Love and Hip Hop. How in the world are we like? I see the hip hop. I see I actually don't see the hip hop, but I guess it's the artists that are hip hop artists that makes it hip hop. But where is the love when you're beating up your spouse, or you're beating up somebody that you say is your best friend one day, and then the next day they're your enemy, and then you got frenemies around you, and then you say, it's way too much. And that is an example of how we look at love in some instances. I mean, you think about it, because even that show is it consists of the African American community. And you rarely see shows like that with other ethnicities displaying their love like that. I mean, you have some stuff on VH1, The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and those type of shows. But how we look at it, is a little bit more animosity there. And that says a lot about our community, but at the same time, it says a lot about how we view love, because we view love based off of what she says about it, or what he says about it. She said you did this, and there's no trust there no more. So she said you did this, and I heard that you did this, and as a result of this, I'm now beating you up in the name of love. And then coming the next day saying, I'm sorry. Can we go out to dinner? I mean, it's so crazy if you look at it by episode by episode by episode. It changes. You see them fighting one week, and the next week they loving each other. And then they're, they're storming out of the house and moving and putting everybody's clothes out on the yard. And then they're taking trips, and then they're, spending a weekend away in paradise. It's crazy. And how y'all just got a headache. Yeah. How you just got a headache just now? Because I just feel like I just got drained just describing it. That's how it is, though. And that's how we view it, based off of what is portrayed, what is seen. And think about our generation, our younger generation. They're watching these shows. I mean, they're like, oh my goodness, love and hip-hop about to great. Come on, at 8 o'clock, I need to hurry up and get home to watch this. You want to watch this? This is what you're looking forward to. This is the example that we're giving. This is the example that we're living. And we're not realizing how it's leaving a mark, and it's leaving a bad taste in the mouths of some people. Yeah. Some people don't want to date or interact with our kind because they see how we are, and they put us in a boat. All black girls are ratchet. Y'all all got attitudes. Y'all all got to talk with y'all hands like this, with y'all head like this. All black girls and they put us in a boat. Sadly. But anyway, just to go back to how deep is your love. But that's to show that we view love based off of what is shown to us. And I'm sorry to see that on the shows that we're watching on BET, but then it almost have you to think, what was their example of love? Mm-hmm. Or did they have an example of love?
Right.
You almost, you kind of fault them because they should know better as an adult, but then you almost kind of like feel sorry because they probably didn't have that example before them.
Right.
You almost kind of get mad at them because some of these women and men have kids looking at them. But then it's kind of unfortunate because maybe their parents didn't give them that much of an example.
But what is really unfortunate is shows like this, they're promoted to the young people. They're promoted to the younger generations. And what they don't realize is it's entertainment, one, but they're using love with the entertainment. So those two things become meshed together. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have all of these quote unquote side chicks relationships, or lack of relationships, but more so, one hitter quitter or one night
there's no commitment,
or it's so much because it's really for the entertainment. But at the end of the day, people are looking for the love. Mm-hmm. That's what they want, and then they settle for the entertainment because they don't know love.
They don't know any better. Mm-hmm. And what they're giving off on TV is a lot of people's reality.
Oh, and it is.
It's a lot of people's reality.
That is reality and for a lot of people.
It could be entertainment from television, but it really is reality in some people's lives. And because it's tough because you deal with, people from all walks of life. And you almost have to just kind of look at it from, not just also from the worldly perspective, but then also from the spiritual perspective, because what are we as Christians giving off that makes us different from the world? Mm-hmm. What are we portraying as far as love that makes it different from what the world is portraying? Mm-hmm. Because if we move the same way that the world is moving, no wonder people don't want to come to church. Mm-hmm. No wonder people don't want to, believe in God or, anything like that, because I call myself a Christian and I'm moving the same way that non-Christians are moving. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate because even when you think about love, love is a process. Love requires so much as it relates to consistency, as it relates to a choice. And a lot of times when we are hurt in the name of love, it causes us to separate from people. It causes us to have that bitterness, that anger. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it from a Christian perspective, although you may be hurt in love, you do still have to forgive the one that hurt you. Mm-hmm. As a Christian, I mean, when you think about it. If we call ourselves a Christian and our Father is the Lord God, our Savior, He's our Father and we are His children. If we made promises to Him and said that we weren't going to do certain things, and we reneged on our promises and broke His heart and made Him feel some sort of way, and He continues to forgive us all the time, we as His children are to do the same thing when it's done to us. Mm-hmm. But it's hard for us to do it.
It's easier said than done.
It's very easy said and done. Mm-hmm. It's easy to, it's like, God, I'm so sorry. And it's easy to say I'm sorry, but it's definitely harder to forgive. I see you, Tracy. We as Christians can't move like the world. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to be outstanding. We're supposed to stand out. And it's a daily thing that you have to purpose and choose to be. This Christian walk is not it's work.
It is, but it's funny that you said we got to stand out, because I know even me personally, I still struggle with comparing where I am in life with either people that are non-Christians or people that are Christians. Mm-hmm. And it is a daily walk, but I have to be secure in myself and know that, okay, this might not be God's plan for me right now, and it's going to come. I just have to stay strong and stay consistent. And that's a lot of the problem, is that I'm not consistent. Like, I can go hard for so long and then start comparing myself to somebody else and then fall mm-hmm. back. Mm-hmm. Well, that's where I fell wrong. I shouldn't have fell back. If I kept strong, I wouldn't even have been looking at somebody else and what they have, and what blessings or quote unquote whatever it is, it looks like they're getting compared to what I'm not getting mm-hmm. when I feel like I'm doing something. But that's not really the case.
Love is a choice, which is what we have been talking about the past couple of weeks. But then love requires consistency. And that's one of the things that, humanly, we kind of struggle with, because we want things to happen quickly and instantly. And things require work. And when we feel like we have put enough work in, it's like, all right, things should happen. Yeah. But no, it should constantly be work. Any type of relationship.
Who says that's enough work?
It's no time limit.
Right.
It's no just like it's no time to love. It's no time limit to how much work you put. I mean, I'm almost convicted right now as I'm saying it, because I know that I have kind of faulted people because I felt like they should be at a certain place at this time. Like, you've been doing this long enough. Why aren't you different? But it's like, look at yourself. You've been doing this and been talking this and been saying this. Why are we so quick to put an expectation on other people and we don't have that same expectation for ourselves? Go back to the beginning of this morning when we was talking about the teachings as it relates to, comparison, as far as comparing yourself to other people, because that's a dangerous thing that we as a people we compare ourselves, and we do it so flippantly, so we don't even realize. I was talking to my uncle before I had came down here, and I was like, all right, we cleaned up upstairs, so let's not use the upstairs stuff, let's just use downstairs. And he was just I ain't seen nobody else go upstairs, go downstairs, so why I gotta go? And it's so easy how we just compare ourselves to other people in anything. Oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna give you $20, but you ain't give me $20, and I know you owe me money. How is it easy for you to give her $20? And we do it so quickly. Why is that? And it comes from a lack of, whether it's self-worth, self-value, self-confidence, self-esteem. It comes from a lack of, and you have all these insecurities as far as jealousy and bitterness, that it's so easy for you to compare. But anyway, as it comes to love, as it relates to love, if you want to compare yourself to anybody, compare yourself to Jesus. Because you can at least try, because at the end of the day, despite of all of our wrongs, he consistently wakes us up every morning, consistently keeps us in our right mind. He consistently forgives us when we repent, if we do repent. He consistently covers us with his grace and his mercy. So if we want to compare ourselves, let's compare ourselves. But how deep is your love? Your love is based off of your knowledge of love and how you view love. And if we were to use a case study, if we were to use a story, because we try to give back to basics teachings, and we try to give teachings from the Bible, stories that we've read, parables that we know, and try to apply them to life situations. Because when you think about it, I was doing a reading yesterday or Monday, I don't know, and it asked the question, why does the Bible have so many stories where it talks about the dysfunctions or the problems in relationships with families? And they start naming all the relationships, whether it's Adam and Eve and their children. They start going through all the stories in the Bible. And what's funny is that because a lot of the stuff that's talked about in the Bible is what we're still living and dealing with in today's time. Yeah, it's just different people in different places, in different countries, in different times. But it's the same things. And if we're not careful, we'll be having these same conversations with our grandchildren and our children, saying, the same thing. So hopefully these teachings try to help. But if we were to use a story in the Bible, I love the story of Naomi and Ruth. Naomi and Ruth, I don't know if you all know anything about it. A lot of people don't read Ruth. Maybe there's only 4 chapters in that book. A lot of people don't read Ruth. I actually saw Ruth visually on VHS before I didn't meet her in real life.
I was like, what?
Right. I didn't meet a Ruth, not Babe Ruth. I didn't meet a Ruth. But no, I saw the story, because you know how they had the Bible stories on VHS. Yes, So I saw the story and I was like, this is an amazing story. Let me read about it. and I read the story, and the story is amazing. I'm not going to tell the whole story because we don't have time for that, but it pretty much gives a synopsis of love. And it talks about the depth of love even when situations happen that are out of your control. And Naomi had 2 sons. She had 2 sons, and they married. They married, one of her sons married Ruth, and another one married another young girl. Her name was Oprah. I want to say Oprah. I want to say that. And the sons ended up dying. And so the widows, only had their mother-in-law. And I'm just giving y'all the abbreviated version. You can go ahead and get the extended other version when you read yourself in your own time. But the sons ended up dying, so Ruth didn't have her sons. So you already can imagine as a mother, your seed, the people that you brought into the world, the people that you thought was going to carry your legacy, they're now gone. So she's going through whatever she's going through emotionally. And then imagine as a spouse, the one that you had declared and decreed, I do, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, is no longer by your side. So you have these 3 women suffering in pain and in hurt. So they're in a different place, emotionally, physically, mentally. They're going through what they're going through. They have left their hometown because they was going to start, a family in another place. But here's where I'm going to hang my hat because I'm not going to tell the whole story. So it came down to where Ruth and Oprah had to make a choice because Naomi, was like she ain't gonna stay there. She's gonna go ahead and travel to another place. Oprah said she's gonna go back home to where her family is. She wanted to do that. Okay, understandable. You want to do what you are familiar with. Ruth said, I know what you're going through, Naomi. I'm gonna stick with you. Naomi, like, no, go. You already see what she's doing. And this is Ruth chapter 1. If you get down to verse, 15, it says, Naomi said, look, your sister-in-law is going back home to live with her own people and God's. You go with her. That's what it says. And Ruth is like, no, don't force me to leave. It says that. I'm not making this up. In verse 16, no, don't force me to leave you. Don't make me go home. Where you go, I go. Where you live, I'll live. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. Where you die, I'll die. And that's where I'll be buried. So help me God. Not even death itself is going to come between us. What kind of love is that? How deep is your love? This is a woman, Ruth, who didn't know Naomi, who only knew Naomi as a result of being married to Naomi's son. As a result of being married to Naomi's son, she was introduced to Naomi. Now, because Ruth's husband died, she didn't get a chance to experience love in its completeness. But Naomi, who was there with Ruth, going through what she was going through the suffering, going through the pain, Ruth having somebody that can connect with, she then chose to spend her life with Naomi. She made Naomi her everything. This was like a mentor to her. This is her mother-in-law. This is an example of her because Ruth didn't have an example of a female before her. She didn't have anybody to show her how to be a woman, how to love. She didn't have anybody to teach her. This was her example. So she had dedicated her life to this woman. It doesn't matter if people liked her or disliked her, or people talked about her or whatever. She had made a promise to Naomi that she was going to be there for her. And I have brought this as a case study because this shows how love can be so deep. Whether you learn it beforehand or you learn it as a result of a traumatic situation. Ruth maybe didn't know anything about love, and because she had went through this trauma of losing her husband, she learned love from another perspective as a result of Naomi choosing to be there for her as her mother. A lot of times we go through life and we have situations happen to us that are expected or unexpected. and we have losses that occur. And of course, sometimes these losses we know are going to happen, and we don't know these losses are going to happen. But at the same time, if you genuinely love the people that you say you love, it doesn't matter how far they are. It doesn't matter what happens in the relationship. If you love them, you choose to love them whether things are good or bad, whether things are near or far, whether things are hard or easy. You choose to love, and a lot of times we give up on love because it becomes difficult, because it hurts, because it's painful, because it doesn't feel good. My heart is broken. It's shattered to pieces. This can't be love. And we give up on love. God, why would you allow this to happen to me? If you love me, why would you have me go through this pain? And we start blaming people, and we start cutting people off, and we start distancing ourselves because of the pain that we go through. But if it's genuine love, it doesn't matter how it makes you feel. At the end of the day, it's still a choice of, I'm going to love you despite of. And that was something that Ruth, had portrayed as far as, Naomi. And you think about it with women, it's easy for us as women to be catty and not submit to another female, or, not want to help or support another female, because we're always so quick to compare or compete, against each other. And it's like, look, I mean, you got your thing, and I'm going to help you, and it's not going to take away anything from me. But when you're not secure in yourself, you start, trying to demise them, or trying to, see things from a negative thing. But Ruth was confident in herself. Naomi, you got your own walk and your own strengths, and I got mine. And what I do for you, it doesn't take anything from me. It doesn't take anything away from me. That's genuine love. That's even as a female saying, neither death can separate us. That's that love of knowing that we're gonna fight some battles out here. We're gonna go through some things. People gonna hate on us, but at the end of the day, I genuinely love you, and I'm gonna fight for our love.
That's good.
We won't have that tenacity. Even now, as far as relationships, the divorce rate is just getting crazy out here. I just think people just out here just wanting to have a wedding, have, people look at them, buy the nicest gown, have the phenomenal, fabulous decor, do all those things that looks good, and then after that, that's it. They don't want to put in that work as it relates to relationships. Because and when you see the divorce rate, and I had to do the statistics of divorce and suicide, and both of them are just crazy numbers. I'm going to have to come back next week and provide that. I did have it. But divorce and suicide, the numbers are getting higher and higher. So to see my parents saying they're celebrating 40 years next month of marriage, that's not even heard of this day and time. People ain't even together for 40 days. After 2 months, I was just talking to somebody, and she was like, I just married my husband last month, and I'm not happy. Really? You just said I do, and you're not happy. And it's just a thing where it's like, did you really want to get married because you love him, or just to say that you were married? And a lot of times we stay in relationships, or we stick with people just because it's to say, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend, I have a husband, and I have a wife, but there's no love there. Because love requires work. Love requires you to be selfless, to put your needs and wants on a back burner at time for somebody else. And a lot of times we're not able to do that because it's like, what about me? Yeah, but what about the other person? Is it always going to be about you? And that's a hard thing to accept. Then you think about it spiritually, God could have said, what about me? Jesus could have said, I'm perfect, so I don't have to go through this. I don't have to suffer. I'm always going to be perfect. I don't have to go through this cruelty and this embarrassment and this pain. But he was selfless. And because he loved us so much, he sacrificed his life. How deep is your love? Is your love so deep that you'll sacrifice your life for the people you say you love? Would you sacrifice your character for the people you say you love? Would you sacrifice, your reputation for the people you say you love. Because a lot of times we say we love people in private, but then we want them to, we want to do something else in public. I love you in private behind closed doors, but I'm going to cuss you out in public because that makes me look tough in front of my boys. That makes me look, whatever. And so we do things in private, but then it's the opposite in public. But if you love me how I am in private or in public. How deep is your love? To death do you part. When they have lied on you, when they have betrayed you, when they have cussed you out and left you, how deep is your love? And a lot of times because our feelings are hurt, or because, we're feeling some sort of way, we quit on love. And I think last week we had said it that sometimes you do yourself a disservice by quitting or letting somebody go when they're in the middle of a transition. They could possibly try to get themselves together or be trying to get themselves together, and because you are fed up with them because of what they have done, you could be missing out on how they could be a blessing to you because you are over what they have done to you. Love is long-suffering.
Yeah.
And we say that all the time. Love is long-suffering. Love goes beyond the now. You could be putting up with love for 5 years and don't see no change. But love is long-suffering. It's not a time limit to, okay, I've done this long enough. Your long enough is not long enough. Because who put the barometer on long enough? Love is long-suffering. 2,000 years ago is when Jesus died for us. Over 2,000 years ago. Even to this day, he still loves us. Unconditionally. And we give up after 2,000 minutes. 2,000 days. How deep is your love? And that's something that we just want you all to kind of think about. Because your love is based off of how you view love. And how you portray love. And even as far as my parents, think about how you have your children looking at you and your portray of love. And not only how you portray love towards them, but how you portray love to your spouse, to your friends. They see those things. If I see you cussing your friend out and calling her all types of B's, and then you say you love her, then I'm going to grow up calling my girlfriends all types of B's and be like, but I love you.
Right.
If I see you out here, beating up your spouse in the name of love, then I'm going to think that, when my boyfriend gives me a black eye, oh, he just loves me. We got to be mindful that people are watching us. And people are going to portray love based off of what we give off. So your knowledge of love is based off of how you view it. It's okay to learn more about love. It's okay to not just let your love be based off of what you see on television, but be open to experience new types of love. We're closed now because we've been hurt by love, that we're closed to learning new love. I want to learn love, abroad. I want to see what the world has to offer. There's so much of this world that I want to experience. I don't want to just learn love in the United States, in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. I want to see how beautiful love is across the waters. Let your love grow. That's our time. Thank you, Church Talk. Appreciate y'all for, listening to us. Steph, you got something you want to tell them before we close out?
You did it. How deep is your love?
That's a song.
The more you know, the more you can grow.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah. And sometimes people out here just doing me, and you doing you with only knowing the little that you do know. It's okay to be open to learn from other people. Thank you, YouTube. Y'all share this. Y'all share this. Y'all share this. Like it if it was good to you all. And help somebody with it. Yep. Miss Lady Michelle, thank you so much. Church Talk. Y'all can, replay this and hear it again. And let this be something that you share with everybody else. Some people on the air because they like the way they sound. Some people on the air because they really can't afford to be on the air. But we on the air because we got something to say. We got something to say. We got something to say. We said it. We hope you heard it. We hope it blesses you. Thank y'all so much, Church Talk. Until next week. Y'all be blessed. Thank you, YouTube. Thank y'all so much. I hope it was good. We tried. You know, we're not pastor, but we did our thing in our own little version. So hopefully it helped you all. Share it and then tune in next week this time. And if you look for something to do and you trying to come to a Bible teaching ministry, we invite you to come to Faith United Ministry, 7905 Fernhill Lane. We hope you all can come tonight. See y'all next week.